Hello, podcast listeners. We know podcasts are a great way to catch up on a program that you may have missed on KSJE, and it's provided as a free service of this radio station. But you know, KSJE is now listener-supported, and so while you enjoy this podcast, we hope that you'll also take some time to join KSJE. Become a member today. It's quite easy to do. Just go to our website at ksje.com/support and pick the level of support that best matches your budget. Thanks again for listening. Here's your podcast. 10 minutes past 8 o'clock. It is Wednesday morning, the 8th day of July, 2026. Good morning, everyone. I'm Scott Micklin. Thanks for tuning in to KSJE 90.9 FM over the airwaves right here in San Juan County, New Mexico. In Durango, Colorado, we broadcast at 103.3 FM. And if you're listening to my voice anywhere else on planet Earth, you've gone to our website to tune in. That's ksje.com, or maybe you're listening through the KSJE radio app, or even maybe you've asked your smart speaker to play KSJE. It's great to have you all with us this morning. Welcome. Also, welcome to our viewers who are watching me right now. The video of this program is streaming out live to the KSJE Facebook page and also to our YouTube channel. So it's great to have you all with us this morning. Coming up, an important conversation about emergency transport services. That's like air care and air ambulance service and things like that. We'll be talking with the director of that program at San Juan Regional Medical Center. Stay tuned for that conversation. It's coming up in the next few moments right here on KSJE. Then, of course, Mick Hess will take over the studio next hour at 9:06. That's Roving with the Arts, our weekday classical music program. That'll take us to 10:30 today. And right on Four Corners, our local and regional author program. Delcherie Spinner is talking with author Orlando Davidson about his latest book called North of Foothill. You'll hear that conversation coming up today at 10:30 right here on KSJE. A reminder also, you can connect with us on other social media platforms. If that's your thing, you'll find us on Instagram and Blue Sky and X. And if you're a podcast listener, you can subscribe to KSJE Podcasts wherever you listen to podcasts. We publish new episodes almost every day, so maybe you'll find a new local program that you may have missed recently. Better yet, you'll find our podcasts and much, much more at the KSJE Radio app. You can download it now from the App Store or Google Play. Take us with you on your adventures this summer. Outside our studios here at San Juan College, it is a partly sunny Wednesday morning, already 76 degrees at the moment, and we're on our way to a mostly sunny day and a high of 95 this afternoon. Partly cloudy skies tonight, the low near 70. It's going to be sunny and 95 tomorrow, 95 again on Friday, 96 on Saturday, 95 again on Sunday, 91 Monday, maybe a chance of some showers on Tuesday into Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night. We may see some monsoon moisture coming in next week at some point. We'll keep our fingers crossed. But overnight lows are still right around the mid to upper 60s to lower 70s. Back with my guest in just a moment, right here on KSJE. KSJE is supported by San Juan Regional Medical Center. It's physician-led and supported by specialists, so patients can receive the treatment they need right here at home. When every minute matters, dedicated caregivers are here for you. San Juan Regional Medical Center, serving the Four Corners region for generations. Find out more at sanjuanregional.com. Featuring world-class conductor Andrew Litton and artistic director Vadim Gluzman in this year's 40th anniversary season. Music in the Mountains, July 9th through August 2nd, 2026. Find out more at musicinthemountains.com.
Now back to Studio A and the award-winning Scott Micklin morning program on KSJE.
Back in the studio with me this morning, as I mentioned, my guest from San Juan Regional Medical Center to talk about emergency transport services. The director of that department at the hospital, Robbie Donald, is here this morning. Good morning. Thanks for coming in.
Good morning, Scott. Thank you for having me.
Good to have you here. And as your title suggests, you are in charge of all types of emergency transport services at San Juan Regional.
Yep, that's correct. The emergency transport services includes air care, EMS, and the trauma services program for our level 3 status at San Juan Regional Medical Center.
Got you. And And so we'll talk about all those things because it's a fascinating job. You've been doing it for a little while now, but you've been at the hospital for quite a while now, correct? You kind of worked your way up, I would say.
That's correct. Yep, started in 2008 working in the emergency department at San Juan Regional Medical Center, and then shortly thereafter joined the flight team as a flight nurse. Spent about 15 years flying for that program. Loved it, every day of it. And then my predecessor, he decided to retire, and he's the one who started the program. So I took that manager position for air care 4 years ago, and then about 2 months ago moved into the director position for the emergency transport services.
Got you. And this is kind of a new title, is it not, at the hospital then?
It is.
For the job that you have?
It is, yeah. We're considered an outpatient or pre-hospital service line, which is kind of different for hospitals. Not a lot of hospitals have their own EMS and air care programs. So it has its unique challenges, and so it's nice to combine those efforts and get those teams working together to make a very robust emergency transport program.
Got you. And so in our area, certainly we're in a unique area as well, and so we have the ground transportation of the ambulance service and things like that, and then we also have the air service as well, whether it's air care or airplane transportation or things like that, and you oversee all of that, correct?
That is correct.
Yeah.
Yep. The EMS system, they cover our whole county, which is about 5,500 square miles of land, so a very large county for our program to cover. We're the sole provider of emergency medical services, and then air care, we cover the Four Corners region. We certainly can fly cross borders and go through Colorado, Utah, a lot of eastern Arizona business out there for us.
Sure, exactly. And I know it keeps you very busy, I know too, with the calls that you get and the transportation that you provide. And a lot of it is just, again, timing is really important. We talked about this before we came on the air this morning, and having that air transportation option is a big deal for patients, right? When they need to get to a hospital, an emergency department, and time is of the essence, and they're who knows how far out from Farmington?
That is correct. Yeah, we, in trauma and cardiac and neuro conditions, time is tissue. So having the ability to rapidly transport people directly to a hospital to get that higher level of care, very important. And as we all know, our geographical area is vast, and there's not a lot of resources out here. So being able to provide that air ambulance service is critical to the people of this community.
Right, but it's not cheap, I know, right? It costs something, a lot, to have the helicopter ready to go at a moment's notice, having a pilot, having the flight nurse and the paramedic, as we talked about too, all the staff ready to go, because it's really available 24/7, I would think.
It is available 24/7. We actually have one helicopter, which I'll often refer to as the rotor wing.
Okay.
We do have two fixed wings, which are the airplane transports. So certainly thankful for the hospital to invest in the equipment and the program that we have, so that we can be ready to provide those emergency services for our community and the larger community around us.
Of course, the region, as you said, right? And so the helicopter, I would say, in my experience, it seems like the helicopter gets called to a lot of the accident scenes and things like that, and it's the fixed wing that maybe goes hospital to hospital or things like that from other kind of transportation calls. Is that kind of how it usually breaks down?
That's correct, yep. The rotor wing, we certainly like to prioritize our scene calls and our 911 responses for. It'll also do interfacility transports, but then the two fixed wings are largely, and actually primarily, interfacility transports, either from our hospital out or from the smaller clinics and hospitals. A lot of the IHS facilities around us will bring patients back into our hospital for treatment.
Right, and certainly it makes sense to have that available as well. And again, time is of the essence, right? I guess ground transportation is always an option too, but if it's needed and the patient needs to get here or get there quickly, you have these other options too.
That's correct. Yep. The ground transportation actually is pretty limited in our area, so that really does create a good area for us to operate as air ambulance. Great geographical location or distances between towns and clinics and things of that nature. So, yeah, being able to transport by air really reduces the time that people are out on the ground and get them to treatment quicker.
Yeah, right. And again, when we talked too, I think a little bit about some of the training that you do for dispatchers and firefighters and things like that when it comes to responding to calls in remote areas of San Juan County, and depending on where the incident has happened, whatever is going on. on. The dispatchers have maps that you've worked with them on, and be able to say, well, maybe this call needs to be an air ambulance call or an EMS ground transportation call, or they make the call at that point, I guess, right?
That's correct. So they'll receive a call in from, through the 911 system, and then they'll classify it based on severity of injury or illness, and then depending on their location, that can activate our system to launch the aircraft to go that direction for them. And we certainly provide a lot of training for the volunteer firefighters and the surrounding community to make sure they're prepared to bring a helicopter in. They're going to do it safely, understand our requirements for landing zones, some of the obstacles and concerns that we would have coming into an LZ. So we want to make sure that we train those folks, and we reach out, again through all four corners, states, to make sure that those volunteers and those individuals are well equipped to bring a helicopter in for EMS.
Right, because a landing zone has got to be a specific type of area, I guess. In some cases they can maybe land on a highway or whatever if the traffic is stopped and things like that, right? And get in, get out, and do your job. And that's a lot of times what happens at an accident scene, I think, too, correct?
That's correct. Yep, a lot of highway accidents that occur in San Juan County. So we certainly want to make sure that they know to give us a 50 by 50 minimum area to land, relatively flat, free of any overhead obstructions, wires, towers, anything of that nature. Making sure the traffic is stopped on both ends of the accident with plenty of space for us to get the aircraft in, because when we come in it's going to be quite windy, so we want to not disturb the scene itself but be close enough that we can respond quickly.
Yeah, exactly. That makes a lot of sense. And so again, a lot of training with those individuals that are out there to make way. And again, it depends on how far, I guess, from the hospital the accident has occurred, whether or not you're going to fly there or drive there with a ground ambulance or what have you.
That's correct. Yep. EMS is stationed all throughout the county, so they do have some. They've got the ability to quickly respond to kind of all the corners of our county. But again, if we're going to be greater than 30 minutes away from the hospital with a critically injured or ill patient, the air ambulance is the best choice to get them there rapidly.
Right. And when you compare it to a ground ambulance, the facilities on air care, are they comparable? Is there a little bit more in the ground ambulance, but you still have some, I know, equipment and things? Certainly you've got a paramedic and a flight nurse, as you mentioned to me, as well as the pilot on the helicopter to care for that patient, and there are certain things they can do in flight on the way back?
That's correct. Yeah, the air ambulance I think would be a little more equipped than our ground ambulance.
Okay.
We are a critical care program, so we carry ventilators and a lot of tools with us to act as an ER bay or an ICU room, and then due to the licensure levels and the special skills that we have for our nurses and paramedics, we can certainly provide a lot of treatment en route and at least get that process started and getting folks back to the hospital quickly.
Sure. And you have experience, as you said, as a flight nurse, and so I imagine that's somewhat unique, flying around and caring for a patient in the air as opposed to on the ground or on the ground in a hospital setting? Absolutely.
Caring for patients in the air is a challenge. There's a lot of stressors of flight. We're in a very small, confined unit. There's just two of us, so resources are limited. We've got to have a pretty high level of autonomy and training and skill sets that allow us to make rapid decisions, provide treatments, and get people stabilized, en route. So,
right.
Yeah. So lots of capabilities within the aircraft, just in a small package.
Sure. But I guess as a career path, I mean, it's worked out well for you. It seems like you would probably encourage other folks who are interested in doing this line of work. Maybe a different level of nursing, I guess, right, for students who are maybe thinking about this line of work as a profession?
Absolutely. I think the becoming a flight nurse or a flight paramedic really is the pinnacle of those licensures. It's a pretty sought-after position, and it takes quite a few years to get there, so we certainly require 3 years of critical care training, and then it also takes a special person to want to do high acuity patient care in an aircraft.
Right.
Not everybody's comfortable being in the aircraft, and especially our aircraft are considered fairly small, although our rotor wing is one of the larger EMS or air ambulance rotor wings out there. So we're thankful for that, but it does. It takes a special person, but I certainly encourage it. I think it's a very rewarding career. I think there's been a lot of great moments in my career in that, and knowing that you can have a high impact on people's lives is just very rewarding.
I would think so. We're showing a picture right now of the hangar that you have at the airport, of course, in Farmington. That's where you store, I would think, the fixed-wing aircraft, right?
Yep.
And that's where they take off from and land and what have you. And so, again, the hospital has a presence at the airport for these types of emergency transports.
That's correct. Yeah, both of our fixed wings live in the hangar up there and are ready to respond at moment's notice. And up there is where our pilots and our mechanics live. So we have several mechanics per aircraft to ensure that they are mission ready every day. And being at the airport really allows us to respond to any of the Four Corner area hospitals pretty rapidly. So
exactly. But the helicopter has kind of a spot at the physical hospital, does it not? I know there's a landing pad there, right? Is the aircraft stored there too?
That's correct. So the helipad just sits right above the ER, and then we have a hangar that we actually move the aircraft in and out of. And so we can deploy directly from the hospital and then arrive back. And our helipad's a pretty busy helipad with the other regional air services, so being able to pull it in and out of the hangar quickly certainly makes a big difference in getting people out.
Yeah, exactly. I remember when I think Air Care, the helicopter, was the first air ambulance in the region, helicopter air ambulance, and now I think maybe there are some other regional hospitals that maybe have helicopters as well, or at least try to provide that service. So it's kind of gained around the area, I guess.
That's right. There's a great need for air ambulance transport in our area. So there are other companies that are located in Colorado and south of us in Albuquerque.
Sure.
But yeah, Air Care's been we've had a rotor wing since 1992. And we're just kind of a staple for the community here, and been providing patient care for many, many years, and have transported thousands and thousands of patients.
Right, exactly. And I imagine you all have kind of agreements with flying in and out of other hospitals and other helipads at other hospitals and things like that. I mean, you get aircraft from other places at San Juan and vice versa, I suppose, as if to transport patients around.
Yes, yep. One of our primary destinations is UNM, which again is the only level 1 trauma center in the state. So we'll certainly do a lot of direct transports to UNM. But we certainly go out to Cortez and Durango, even out to Monument Valley at times. Chinle, Fort Defiance, they've got a great need out there, so we certainly are transporting out of there quite frequently.
Right. And I wanted to ask you a little bit about flying around. We talked about how hot the temperatures are in the heat of summer these days, and so heat can affect, I think, aircraft in some types of ways. Correct? Is that something you have to watch, keep an eye on?
It certainly does. Yeah. Once we get hot, the air density altitude starts to affect performance of helicopters. Thankfully, you can see the Bell 429 there, the Air Care 1 helicopter.
Yeah.
It's a twin-engine aircraft, very capable at our altitude, and does quite well in the heat. Maybe some limitations if we go up into the mountains on these hot summer days.
Even higher altitude, I guess, right?
Higher altitude, yep. Anything over 10,000 feet, we can start to see a performance reduction. So at that time, we may just drop one of our clinicians on the ground and transport the patient out and come back for them later.
Right. Got you. But there are options, I suppose, right, in some cases. And we talked a little bit about other weather conditions that might hamper air transport, obviously, right? You can't fly in every type of weather.
Absolutely. We want to avoid thunderstorms and clouds that may contain ice. So as the monsoon season comes through, we do get a little picky. Luckily, our area, if you don't like the weather now, you just have to wait 30 minutes and it'll change. So,
right.
So we certainly are very conservative on our weather calls. That's part of the danger of the air medical industry is flying into weather. So we've got great pilots that make very good judgment calls on that, and we won't go if it's not safe for all of us.
Right. You were telling me too, it's visual flight rules too that you use, that your pilots use, right, when they're flying around.
That's correct. Yeah, we operate in a VFR state, so our aircraft is IFR capable, which can be instrument flight rules. But due to our altitude, a lot of times if we get into the cloud, we run into the icing issues, and icing on rotor wings is not a good thing.
Right. exactly. So that's an important thing as well. But I remember too when talk about starting the air ambulance program began in 1992, which doesn't make me feel old at all that you mentioned that date, but thanks. But there was a lot of talk about industry in the area and the remoteness of some of the oil and gas fields and things like that, and how important it would be to have a service like this to be able to get out to a remote well location, for example, maybe on a dirt road or whatever, and you can't maybe even get an ambulance out there on the ground, but a helicopter you could. And that was one of the things that said this is a really needed service for the area and for the industry in our area. Is that also part of the calls that you get to some of these remote well site locations?
It is, yep. As many of us know, the oil field is a very vast field throughout the Four Corners area, and to get an ambulance out there, you certainly can, but it's very confusing if you don't drive those roads. You know, the folks that work in that industry understand the routes and the roads to the sites very well, but it may take an hour or so for an ambulance to be able to drive out there.
Right. To
where the helicopter could really get there in about 15 minutes and land on scene and get your injured individual out. And then it's a much quicker response, but also doesn't put the patient through, if they have a long bone injury or something, then they have to drive through those bumpy dirt roads for another hour out. Very uncomfortable. So certainly allows us to respond quickly and get them back to the hospital in a very timely manner.
Exactly. The resource I know is also available. It has been used in the past. I think sometimes law enforcement will maybe call upon Air Care to do some search and rescue assistance, maybe a river rescue or something, to try to locate someone if they're in fast-moving water or what have you. You can certainly kind of watch from the air and things like that. Is that also something that the helicopter and some of your staff are trained to assist with?
So we do search and assist.
Okay.
So not licensed to do rescue.
Thank you for the clarification.
The search and assist, certainly if we're looking for lost individuals, we can put some eyes in the air and see if we can locate them and guide ground crews to that individual. Now, if they are suffering from a medical condition, at that point we can certainly turn it into a medical mission,
right,
and land and get them. So,
gotcha.
Yeah, we've certainly been utilized to help lost hikers in the Dinazen, the Versailles Wilderness, and sometimes some river and lake searches as well.
Gotcha, which is really, again, another important thing to talk about. So that's great to know. Some of the other things that I wanted to ask you a little bit about, what are some of the things that the public maybe isn't aware that the Air Transport Services does? I mean, we talked a little bit about hospital-to-hospital transportation, a little bit about some of these emergency transports and things like that. Are some other things that the public maybe isn't aware of, the things that you and your staff do?
So our program, we transport the high-risk OB mothers that may be suffering from certain conditions that need to get them to a higher level of care, or if they're going to need a NICU for their child when it's born, if it's premature. We do pediatrics. The Hospital San Juan Regional's looking to move to a level 2 nursery, so in the future we're going to be looking at doing some neonatal transports. And then cardiac's a big one for us. We've got something we call the STEMI line, which allows the outside facilities, it's called directly to our supervisor. We'll three-way call with the cardiologist, and the providers can speak while we're getting the aircraft moving towards that patient, again, to get them back to our cath lab as soon as possible. With cardiac issues, the time is tissue, so we want to be moving quick and efficiently to get that patient to the PCI facility.
Right, gotcha. And are you flying every day? And not you personally maybe, but your staff? I mean, are these aircraft in the air every day transporting patients pretty much?
We are. We're actually a very busy program. Our rotor wing will do somewhere around 50 to 60 flights a month. And then the two fixed wings will do about 130 flights a month. So multiple missions every day, day and night, 24/7. And just a very busy program, but it's a great resource for our community.
No kidding, very true. And how does that compare to other hospitals? I mean, is that the nature of a regional medical center that you're so busy, or is it the nature of our remote location, or a combination of all that I've said?
A combination of both. Our remote location and our footprint as a a regional hospital, we want to make sure that we're covering the Four Corners area. So we certainly bring a lot of folks in from eastern Arizona, southeast Utah, southern Colorado, and then within our own community as well. So yeah, very busy program for us. Again, it's very unique for San Juan Regional Medical Center to have a air ambulance and ground ambulance program. So, and it's been my honor to merge those two and really try and provide a higher level of care for our community.
Right, right. And I guess the next logical question would be, where do you go from here then? I mean, do you have some goals and some things you'd like to see happen with the program? More of this, less of that, or what are you looking at down the road, I guess?
Absolutely. Again, with our volumes, I think in the future we are looking to add another aircraft, try and get another service line available. And then for our ground crews, I'd really like to see us move towards a critical care transport, ground transport. So if the weather comes in, say those rare snowstorms that develop our area, we could utilize ground transport to do our critical care transports as well. So currently it's a hybrid. What we'll do is we'll get with EMS, they'll provide a driver and an EMT for us, and then we'll provide our critical care flight staff, and I'll get in the truck and transport those. So yeah, I certainly hope to grow the program with additional aircraft, and then the ground system as well. I think we're looking to try and add additional trucks to our community.
Gotcha. Well, and you only have to ask the school districts, I think, about weather conditions, right? And it might be fine here in the city, but you get a few miles out into the county in any direction, and the weather conditions and road conditions can certainly change. So that would make sense that you'd want to be prepared for everything.
Absolutely.
And all different types of conditions. So
yes,
that makes a lot of sense. I did want to ask you about an event coming up in the fall. Not too early maybe to talk about it, but it's a trauma conference here at San Juan College, kind of right in your line of work. And so talk to me a bit about what's coming up at this Trauma and Critical Care Conference in October.
Yeah, so the San Juan Regional Medical Center Trauma Services hosts a Trauma and Critical Care Conference every year. We host it here at the Connie Gotch Theater, and it's going to be a 3-day event. We've actually partnered with the San Juan River Conference this year, which is for a lot of our EMTs out in the county.
Right.
So we're going to combine this conference, make it a big 3-day event. It'll be here locally, and it really aims to educate nurses, paramedics, EMTs of all levels about the new science, the new methods and technologies that we're using in emergency medicine. And yeah, it's going to be a great event. We've got some great speakers lined up for it, and I encourage all to go. We certainly want to reach out to our schools, the nursing school and the EMT schools here, and have those students start to participate in these conferences, because one part of the healthcare world is continuing education.
Right.
It's always very important, so get them introduced to that now so that they understand that these resources are available for them going forward.
Yeah, it seems like this field there's a lot of technological advancements, improvements, things that come down almost every season, I would think, or every year. Probably the job's changed a lot since you started in it too, and you've probably seen a lot as well in the jobs that you've done.
Yes, yeah. The medical world is an art. It's a science for sure, but it's
Right.
an art because we're constantly learning and understanding that there's new ways and better ways to provide care to folks. A lot of the devices that are coming out to assist with folks are pretty impressive, and so we need to certainly be educated on those and understand how to operate those if we're going to be transporting those patients. Something like the Impella heart pump, new device, well, not terribly new, but really becoming a favorable tool for those that may be suffering from multivessel cardiac disease. And it's a bridge to get them down to a higher level where they can do a cardiothoracic surgery. But essentially what it does, it offloads all the work of the heart, and it's a little pump that goes right into the ventricle and pumps blood out, so it really can allow that heart to rest while it's suffering injury.
Interesting, and sounds very portable too. You don't need a whole room of equipment to run that thing, it sounds like to me. You could put it in a patient and transport them in a helicopter or airplane or ground ambulance.
Yeah, the control module is about 2 foot by 2 foot.
Okay.
It fits right in the aircraft.
Yeah.
And then the pump that is doing the work is inserted through the femoral artery and dropped right into the left ventricle of the heart. And it's like a little Archimedes screw, and it just does its thing. It pulls blood and pushes it into the aorta, which then pushes it out to your circulatory system and provides the perfusion that our brain and kidneys and lungs need. So yeah,
Exactly.
fantastic tool, but very portable, so that
Right.
we can take those folks down and get the care that they need. The surgery usually
Right.
is what they need.
Amazing, very much so. And real quick, again, we'll keep up the poster here for the conference that's coming up. It looks like there's a QR code that folks can scan already to register and get signed up. So that's important as well. As far as transportations, I think you were telling me earlier that about 20% of the patients maybe are get transported out of the hospital or from the hospital. Is that kind of the number?
So we were talking traumatically injured patients.
Thank you, yes.
Yep. So San Juan Regional Medical Center is a level 3 trauma center.
Right.
I feel we're a pretty high functioning level 3.
Right.
And there are no level 2s in New Mexico, but the level 1 is in Albuquerque.
Right.
And so we had, our teams there do such a fantastic job that we really have about a 10% transfer out rate for our traumatically injured patients.
10%,
So
thank you.
we can certainly care for a lot of those patients in-house here and get them on the road to recovery.
If my math is correct, it's about 90% you can care for here.
That's
if you're
right.
only transporting out 10. So,
That's right.
And it's early for me to do math, so I'm just saying that's a good number, and that's a very impressive number as well. So, well, Robbie Donald, I appreciate you coming in to talk about the work that you and your staff do at the hospital and with emergency transport services, and thanks for sharing it with us this morning. Appreciate it.
Well, it's been my pleasure, Scott. Thank you. And yep, I love what I do, have a passion for it, and encourage anyone who's interested in this line of work to come talk to me.
All right.
I can set you up.
Very good. Very good. Thanks for being here.
All right. Thank you.
You're very welcome. My guest this morning, Robbie Donald, Emergency Transport Services Director with San Juan Regional Medical Center. Did you enjoy that podcast? We hope that you did. And if you did, share it with your friends. And if you really want to keep podcasts like this coming, please support KSJE. You can do it easily online at ksje.com.